He kissed her, right there on stage, in front of everyone, soft, unscripted, real. And the moment his lips touched hers, Seo Eun-bi forgot who she was pretending to be. Because in that second, she wasn't invisible. She wasn't the nerd, the backup, the background twin. She was seen. And that was the most dangerous part, because the boy who kissed her, Kim Jae-min, was in love with someone else, her sister. Backtrack. 2 hours earlier. It started as a favor, just one period. "Please," Eun-seo begged, adjusting her perfect hair in the mirror. "Just take my place in rehearsal. I double-booked with a photo shoot." Eun-bi frowned. "I've never even been to drama club. You don't have to act, just sit in my spot during the warm-up. No one will notice. We're twins, remember?" Eun-bi hesitated, then nodded. "Just this once, just to help." Eun-seo handed her the school jacket, already perfumed and perfectly fitted. "Try not to mess it up," she said with a wink. Eun-bi sighed and tied her hair in a loose ponytail to match her sister's. Then, walked across campus like she didn't exist. But when she stepped into the auditorium, someone noticed Eun-seo. "You're early," said Jae-min, glancing up from the script. He smiled gently, like she mattered. Eun-bi panicked a little inside, but smiled back, said nothing, sat quietly. The rehearsal began. They were doing a modern adaptation of Romeo and Juliet. "Just follow along," someone whispered behind her. Eun-bi nodded, heart racing, then the director clapped. "Time for scene 6, the balcony moment. Eun-seo, you're up. Jae-min, ready?" She froze. "What?" But before she could object, Jae-min stepped beside her, offering a hand. "Let's give them something worth watching." He guided her to center stage, spoke his lines, calm and confident, eyes never leaving hers. She stumbled through Juliet's, part voice barely audible, but Jae-min smiled anyway. "I like this version of you," he whispered between lines. She blinked. "What?" "You're quieter, softer, more real." Then came the cue, the unscripted kiss moment. It was supposed to be mimed, but he leaned in, closer and closer. Her heart screamed. But she didn't stop him, because for the first time in her life, she wanted to be wanted. The kiss was brief, but it shattered something inside her. And when the director called, "Cut!" and the room erupted in applause, Eun-bi stood frozen, eyes wide, fingers trembling, because she had just kissed the boy her sister loved, and worse, he had kissed her back. After rehearsal, Jae-min caught up to her. "Want to grab something from the vending machines?" She nodded, unsure of her own voice. They walked in silence for a moment. Then he said it. "You feel different today," she swallowed. "Is that bad?" He shook his head. "No, just better." And just like that, the lie grew from one period to one afternoon, to a single smile that changed everything. That night, Eun-bi stared at herself in the mirror, still wearing Eun-seo's jacket, still tasting his kiss, still hearing his words. "You feel better." She knew it was wrong, but she couldn't forget the way. He looked at her, not her sister. Her across the hall. Eun-seo applied lip gloss, sighed loudly. "Thanks for covering." "How'd it go?" Eun-bi opened her mouth but closed it again. "Fine." Eun-seo glanced over, frowning. "You look weird." Eun-bi turned away. "Just tired." But she wasn't tired. She was alive and terrified, because for one stolen afternoon, she wasn't a shadow, she was the story, and someone had fallen for it. Eun-bi tried to avoid him the next day. She skipped the hallway he usually walked through, ate lunch in the library, told herself it was better this way, that one moment of pretending didn't have to turn into more. But then came the message. From Kim Jae-min. "Hey, same time today? I asked Ms. Jung if we could rehearse one-on-one. She said yes, hope that's okay." Her hands trembled as she read it. How did he get her number? Then she realized he had messaged Eun-seo. He thought he was texting her, and the real Eun-seo hadn't answered yet, so the message landed in the family-shared group chat, the one only the twins used for schedule sync. Eun-seo hadn't seen it, but Eun-bi had, and for 10 whole minutes, she stared at it, then stood up and ran, back to the auditorium, back to the stage where everything started. Jae-min was already waiting, sitting on the edge of the platform, script open, humming quietly. He looked up. His smile was soft, like it was only meant for her. "There you are." Eun-bi stepped forward slowly, voice low. "I thought we were done." He raised an eyebrow. "With rehearsal?" "With that scene," Jae-min chuckled. "Ms. Jung added it permanently, said it had emotional truth." She blinked. "You're kidding." He shook his head, eyes bright. "You brought something to it, you felt it. That kiss wasn't fake." Her heart skipped. "But you know it was just acting, right?" He tilted his head. "Was it?" She didn't answer. "Couldn't." He patted the seat beside him. "Come on, let's run it again." They rehearsed. He read his lines, she whispered hers, and somewhere between take 4 and take 7, she laughed, really laughed. He had made a joke about Romeo needing therapy, and she had let it slip. A laugh that came from deep down. Jae-min froze, staring. "That's the first time I've heard you laugh like that." She looked away, cheeks burning. "I laugh. Not like that." He paused, then added gently, "I like it." And just like that, the lie stretched from one scene to 2 days, to one heartbeat after another. Meanwhile, Eun-seo was getting restless. At lunch, her friends whispered about Jae-min. "I heard he's been rehearsing late. Only with you, right? What's going on?" Eun-seo smiled, but it was forced. She hadn't seen him since Monday, and now it was Thursday and her inbox was empty. At home, she waited for her sister to come out of the shower. "Where's my jacket?" Eun-bi handed it over silently. "You look flushed," Eun-seo said, watching her carefully. "Just tired." Eun-seo tilted her head. "From what?" The silence was too long, and that was when it started. The suspicion, the tiniest crack. The next morning, Eun-seo walked past the music room. She paused, heard voices, peeked through the small window, saw her sister and Jae-min laughing, leaning close. Hands. Almost touching, something twisted in her chest, something she'd never felt before. Jealousy. Not from losing attention, but from losing him. Later, she confronted Eun-bi. "You're spending a lot of time at rehearsal." Eun-bi looked down. Ms. Jung needed help. Eun-seo crossed her arms. "With my role?" Silence. Eun-seo stepped closer. "He thinks you're me." Eun-bi finally met her eyes. "I didn't mean for it to happen." "Did you kiss him?" Eun-bi said nothing, and that was enough. Eun-seo laughed bitterly. "So that's how it is. You live like a ghost your whole life. Then the moment someone sees you, you steal what's mine." Eun-bi's voice shook. "He wasn't yours." "He was going to be." Eun-bi stepped back. "I didn't plan it, but you didn't stop it either." That night, Eun-seo opened her makeup drawer, pulled out her best lipstick, the red one, the one she saved for performances and power moves, and she stared at her reflection, then whispered, "It's war." Eun-bi did not show up the next day, not to rehearsal, not to lunch, not even to the library. She sat behind the gym building with her knees hugged to her chest, headphones in, sketchbook on her lap. She had written the same sentence 5 times across the page. "This isn't my life." But her heart disagreed. It had felt more hers than anything else before, and that terrified her. Meanwhile, Jae-min was looking for her. He checked the auditorium first, then the garden, then asked around casually, "Hey, has anyone seen Eun-seo today?" "Didn't she have a shoot?" "No idea, man," but he wasn't buying it. Something felt off. He remembered the way she had looked yesterday. Scared, guilty, alive. He texted her, "You okay?" No reply. Later that day, after classes, Eun-bi was sneaking toward the school gate when she heard her name, or at least the wrong one. "Eun-seo." She froze, turned. Jae-min was walking toward her, holding 2 cans of orange soda. He smiled. "I got your favorite." Her throat tightened. She almost told him right then, almost, but he handed her the can. She took it, his fingers brushed hers, warm. Too real. They sat under the same tree they had used for rehearsals. No script this time, no scene, just silence. And him, looking at her like she was the only person in the world. "So," he said softly, "you've been avoiding me." "I've been busy," she whispered. He smiled gently. "I'm not mad. Just confused. She looked down. I thought maybe you needed space, he added. I don't. She looked up, and he was already watching her. I like the way you've been lately, he said. You don't try so hard. She tried to laugh. It came out shaky. You say that like it's a compliment. It is. He reached for her hand, held it softly. No cameras, no crowd, just skin against skin. Her fingers curled around his, and somewhere in the hallway above, a door cracked open. Eun-seo stood there, watching, frozen, eyes wide, jaw tight, her twin, holding. Hands with her, Jae-min. She didn't cry, not yet. Instead, she smiled, pulled out her phone, and took a photo. The next morning, Eun-bi opened her locker to find something taped inside. The photo, printed, blurry, but unmistakable. The note scribbled, over it in red ink, you stole my name. My kiss, my life. Now I'm taking it back. Eun-bi crumpled it quickly, heart pounding, but she wasn't fast enough. Jae-min walked by, saw her expression. You okay? She forced a nod. Just tired. He stepped closer. You've been saying that a lot lately. I guess I am. He reached out, tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear. She flinched. And that was the moment, the second she saw it in his eyes. Doubt. Just a flicker. But enough. You all right? He asked again, voice gentler. She nodded again, too fast. He smiled, but it was dimmer this time. That night, Eun-seo posted a photo on her social media. It was her and Jae-min old from a school event, but she captioned it. Some people pretend, others live it. The comments exploded. Everyone assumed they were dating again. Jae-min saw it, didn't like it, didn't respond, but he started asking questions to the director, to friends, even to Eun-seo herself. I thought we weren't talking, she said sweetly. I just want to understand something. She tilted her head. Understand what? You, she laughed, then leaned close. You already made your choice, Jae-min. And walked away. But he hadn't made a choice, not really. He was still lost between two smiles that looked the same, but felt worlds apart. Later that night, Eun-bi stood in front of her mirror again. Same face, same features, but a different heartbeat. She touched her lips, remembered his hand and whispered, I didn't want to fall in love, I just wanted to be someone. The morning of the showcase arrived. Students were buzzing through the halls. Flyers for the spring drama were posted everywhere, featuring Jae-min and Eun-seo in a dramatic pose. But the girl in the photo wasn't Eun-seo. It was Eun-bi. No one knew yet. Backstage, Eun-bi sat on the floor holding her script with trembling hands. Her chest was tight. She couldn't breathe right. Jae-min walked in with 2 cups of hot chocolate. I figured you'd need this. She looked up, startled, forced a smile. Thanks, he sat beside her, close, too close. After today, this'll all be over. She nodded slowly. Yeah. Are you okay with that? She blinked. What do you mean? This has been the best part of my semester. He looked down. I don't want to lose it after curtain call. Her heart cracked. I don't want to lie anymore. Jae-min frowned. What lie? She opened her mouth, but the door burst open. Eun-seo walked in. In, full costume, eyes burning, voice calm, too calm. Sorry I'm late. Did I miss anything? Eun-bi's blood turned cold. Jae-min stood up, confused. I thought, wait, aren't you already dressed? He looked at Eun-bi, then back at Eun-seo. What's going on? Eun-seo laughed softly. Oh, you haven't figured it out? She stepped closer. I guess love really is blind. Then she turned to the cast and crew gathered in the wings, raised her voice. Everyone, listen up. The room fell quiet. I have a confession to make. She pointed to her sister. This isn't me. Gasps, eyes turned, whispers exploded. She's been pretending to be me for weeks. She kissed Jae-min pretending to be me. She stole my role, my face, and my life. Eun-bi stood frozen. Jae-min looked from one to the other, back and forth. Identical faces, but one was trembling, the other was smirking. He took a step back. You lied to me? Eun-bi's voice broke. I didn't mean to. It was just supposed to be for one day. But you let it keep going, he said. You let me fall. For someone who doesn't even exist. I am her, she whispered. He shook his head. No, you're not. The director tried to interrupt. We don't have time for this. But Jae-min walked out straight through the stage doors and out of the auditorium. Eun-bi stood in front of everyone, eyes burning, face red, tears threatening. No one moved. No one defended her. Even the ones who had cheered for her work now stared in silence. She pulled off the costume jacket, dropped it, and ran. Outside, it was raining. Hard. She didn't have an umbrella. Didn't care. She sat under the overhang by the side entrance, knees to her chest, soaked, ruined. She had wanted to be someone for once, and now she was, but not the someone she hoped to be. Now she was the girl who lied, the girl who tricked a boy into falling for her, the girl who stole her sister's name across the school. Eun-seo stood in front of the mirror in the dressing room. She should have felt satisfied, but she didn't. The silence in the room after her announcement haunted her. No one had clapped. No one had thanked her. She looked at her own reflection, whispered, "Why do I still feel second place?" At home, Eun-bi didn't eat dinner. She lay in bed with headphones on, listening to the same song on repeat, the one Jae-min had sent her weeks ago, thinking it was Eun-seo. It was a song about beginnings, about meeting someone who made the world. Shift. Now it felt like the soundtrack to an ending. The next day, she didn't go to school. She didn't want to see the posters, or the auditorium, or the look in Jae-min's eyes again. But that afternoon, someone knocked on her door. Soft, once, then twice. She opened it slowly. Jae-min stood there, soaked from the rain, holding the script in one hand and in the other, a photo of the two of them, laughing under the cherry blossoms from a few days before. She opened her mouth, he held up a hand. Not yet, and walked inside. Eun-bi stood in the living room barefoot, still in pajamas. Jae-min's clothes were soaked through, but he didn't move. He just stood there, looking at her like he was seeing her for the first time. "I came to return this," he said, holding out the script. She took it slowly. He waited, then pulled the photo from his pocket. "You probably don't even remember this moment," he said softly. "But I do." They were sitting under the cherry blossom tree. She was laughing, mouth open, eyes crinkled. He was looking at her, not smiling, just watching, totally still, totally present. "I kept this," he said, voice low, "because that was the moment I started to feel like you were someone different." She looked away. "I'm sorry, I know. I never meant to hurt anyone." "I know." She finally met his eyes. "But you still left," he nodded. "I was angry, confused. You had every right," he stepped forward. "I don't think I was mad that you lied." She blinked. "Then what?" "I was mad that I didn't see. I had sooner." Silence. Heavy. Raw. Then he said the words that shifted everything. "You lied to me, but you were the first person who ever told me the truth with your eyes." Her lips parted. No words came. She stepped closer. He did too. And before she could second guess, he kissed her. Soft. Real. Without performance. Without pretending. They stood like that for a long time. Just two hearts that had been pulled through fire. Meeting. Again at the edge of something new. The next week, school was quiet. Whispers died down. The spring showcase had been cancelled. No one talked about it anymore, but the students remembered. They remembered the photo, the speech, the scandal, and most of all, the kiss, because Jae-min didn't hide anymore. He held her hand in the hallway, sat with her at lunch, and when people stared, he stared back. Proud, Eun-seo watched from a distance, alone, for the first time in a long time. She had the spotlight, but it felt colder now. She had been the main character. But the story had moved on, and this time, it didn't need her. In the girls' restroom, she locked the door, leaned against the sink, pulled out her phone, scrolled through old photos, one of her and Jae-min. Backstage, smiling. Perfect. Empty. She stared at the screen, then slowly deleted it. One tap. Gone. Her reflection stared back, and for the first time in years, she cried, not loud, not dramatic, just one tear, then two. No makeup, no script, just raw human grief. Because somewhere deep down, she realized something painful. Her sister had been seen. Because she had dared to show her real self, and that was something Eun-seo had never done. Across campus, Eun-bi and Jae-min sat on the rooftop steps. A breeze passed, cherry blossoms fluttered by. He held her hand in silence, then said, "I never liked the spotlight." She smiled. "You're in one now." He squeezed her hand. "Only because you're here." She looked up at the sky, blue, wide, open, and whispered, "I don't want to be anyone else ever again." He leaned his head on her shoulder. "You don't have to be." In the end, the lie faded, the truth stayed, and the girl who was once invisible became unforgettable.